Welcome everybody to a battle report of a battle I fought a couple weeks ago. On the ladder, I was Bretonia, my opponent was the Vampire Counts. So, this is a bit of a blast from the past, this build here, because this was a build, or it's very similar to a build that used to be the meta, I would say, in Warhammer 1 for a while. Until I made a Terrorgeist build that countered it. But since then, Terrorgeist are less viable in this matchup. It's way easier for Bretonia to win air. You can still go for it, because usually Bretonia doesn't take a lot of air. They're too scared of fighting Blood Knights with air units, which doesn't tend to go so well. But yeah, this is very similar to that build. I have the 3 mounted yeoman archers. And the key component of the army is the Grail Guardians. And the idea is very simple. The Grail Guardians grind everything down. The thing that can kind of damage them, which is the Blood Knights or anything large from the vampires, will have to come and fight men-at-arms with pole arms if they want to get to the Grail Guardians. And of course, in that grind with the phase support, the Blood Knights will not win that. That's the plan. There's also a Grail Relic to keep everyone fighting, and some men-at-arms with pole arms here as well. And then what I did change from the build as it was in Warhammer 1 is I brought the Paladins and the Pegasus Knights to have a little bit of mobility pressure that I can put on retreating units. And also it's very good to clear bats from any of your units, especially these mounted yeomen. You can catch the bats, if there are any, before they get to them. So, for my vampiric opponent here, it's pretty standard, I would say, with the 3 Blood Knights. The Vargulf is less standard, I guess. There's some zombies and some Graveguard. 3 Graveguard, 4 zombies. I would say a bit more investment into infantry than usual. And then the mighty Vlad von Karstein is here. And we have a White King as well. Let's see how this plays out. The map is not bad for me, as you can see. There's a bit of a high ground here. As Vampire Counts, you're usually not going to get the engagements you want, or at least the terrain you want. They're better on flat maps than maps with terrain. Sending out the mounted yeoman, just scouting out if there's something hidden over here. There's not a whole lot I can do here, not a lot of initiative. With different builds you could try to go for some early calf charges. Maybe you'd have a trap firing at them already. But in this case it's really the vampire who has to come to me. Also slowly moving forward, because you don't want to be close to the edge of the map against the Vampire Counts. The leadership on my units is very good. It's 74, thanks to this Grail Relic. They're all immune to psychology as well, I believe. No, they're not. Oh, they are. Okay, immune to psychology. So that makes another difference of 8 leadership. As you can see, I am trying to be annoying. Charging in with the Pegasus Knights on this exposed zombie. It's just a zombie, but any damage I can do is going to help me in the end, especially if I'm taking none in return. See, the Pegasus Knights here took absolutely no damage in return from that zombie. Killed about 5 of them. I'm just going to keep doing this. It's mostly to force a response from its Blood Knights. Try to get them to use some of their vigor. There's another thing about these Bretonian Knights, the really high-end ones, Grail Knights and Grail Guardians, which I'm using here, is that they don't get tired. So if you can get the enemy's figure down before they even engage, it's really good. And then the longer the battle goes, the better it is for you. Because a fresh unit will have a massive advantage over an exhausted unit, of course. Here I'm charging forward. Of course, the Blood Knights will respond, but they don't really respond quickly enough, I would say. they had responded faster, I would have not been able to make that charge. I would have pulled out of there. But again, that's some good value. The Graveguard took some damage. These Graveguard took quite a bit of damage as well. Rail Guardians, not with the biggest charge bonus, but still pretty decent. And yeah, I'm just not losing any vigor on them by doing this. And now he's coming in. And as you can see, he has to fight these Grail Guardians. And in doing so, he's running into the Phase Aura. And he's running into the Men-at-Arms with polearms. I did take a little bit more damage on these Grail Guardians than I should have. But the good thing about Grail Guardians is they just don't die very easily. You can see only one of them died, even though he took quite a bit of damage there. This one has Master of Beguilement on him. Good play by my opponent there. Shield of Thorns comes in, increases their damage, increases their damage resistance as well. You could argue that maybe Regrowth would be better here. I do not have it, I'm just relying on Earthblood. Yeah, this is a bit of a mistake. The Fey Enchantress is all by herself there. And one of the Paladins is kind of stuck in these Blood Knights. Really, what I should be doing with these Paladins is attacking that Fargulf, I think. That's a zombie. Trying to keep my Mounted Yeoman Archers away. You can see he's looking for good engagements with his Blood Knights. He realizes, okay, these are all Men-at-Arms polearms. Men-at-Arms polearms do lose in the end against Graveguard. Actually quite decisively. But with the phase support and the Grail Relic being here to keep them in the fight, and there's a decent Chalice of Potions. So with all of that being there, and especially the Grail Guardians just beating on stuff, I'm actually killing quite a bit of the infantry. This response is to try to kill the Fey. Fey is not easily killed. Van Hels comes in, but this Vargulf, this fluffy puppy, got jumped by Pegasus Knights and 2 Paladins, and it's actually a good unit in this matchup. But this is just not a good situation for it. And I say it's good because what it can potentially do is kill some models on the Grail Guardians, so I don't get an opportunity to heal them. Yeah, the zombies, they're trying to zone out Mounted Yeoman Archers, which I'm not really sure about. But he does have infantry everywhere here, so he might as well use the zombies to try and nullify the effectiveness of these guys. But really, they're more or less insurance against corpse guards. Especially against the Mortis engine, you need something to kill it. And yeah, this build in Warhammer 1, not sure if I mentioned it before, but it was actually introduced by CA Duck in a tournament when no one was using Grail Guardians. And then it fell out of the meta again because, well, people started using Terrorgeists, and Terrorgeists killed Grail Guardians really hard. And there was no real risk in bringing them. But these days, there's more risk in bringing them. But this build would lose pretty hard to Terrorgeist, I think. Never really faced Terrorgeist with it. It would definitely be difficult to kill them, because you couldn't go for a straight engagement with the Pegasus Knights and the Paladins, but they are faster than the Terrorgeist, so it's not like you auto lose if they have more air than you do. Oh, Vlad is trying to fight this Paladin. Vlad is pretty good, but I don't think the buffs really helped him. I think maybe if you can make builds where you save some money by not getting a terror unit that you do not want, and then letting Vlad provide the terror instead, could be good. But here the terror was never relevant because of that Grail Relic. It's such a... yeah, I think it's a really good unit against vampire counts, just nullifying all the fear and all the terror. Giving a lot of leadership to these men-at-arms. Even the ones who are routing, they actually routed way later than they otherwise would have. Makes a difference of 20 leadership. That's quite a bit of damage you can take before getting killed, or before getting routed off. Yeah, these Blood Knights are just not finding a good home. Vlad, despite being the dad and very strong, is not capable of fighting all of this by himself. Now, Mounted Yeomen are opening fire. Yeah, they're just doing a little bit of tickle damage here and there to the Blood Knights. We're now all going to disintegrate. Yeah, this was maybe not the closest of battles, but I think it was a cool way to showcase, well, kind of an old meta build. Can resurface, because I think this is pretty viable. Usually you'll see something else with more archers and I guess peasant mob frontline, but it's a pretty solid build that you can try out if you want. So, that guys, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. See you later.